Well, if I'm Premier, okay, I'm going to pick up the phone and call the president of the HSBC Bank in London, England. I think it's the largest bank in the world. They've said they're boycotting, no longer providing credit to the Alberta energy industry, while they continue to finance Vladimir Putin's industry. Can you believe that? Incredible hypocrisy. I'm going to call him up and say, if you continue this boycott of Alberta and this gross double standard, then the government of Alberta and all of its agencies will boycott HSBC. I will call on the private sector to do the same thing, and other Canadian provincial governments. We will no longer be pushed around. And then we're going to put the groups who have been attacking us on the defensive. I'm going to instruct our Attorney General to develop the evidence of how the Greenpeace and the Suzuki Foundation and the rest of them have been in flagrant violation of Canadian charities laws by acting as full-time pressure groups. We're going to send that down to Ottawa. If they do not act on it, we will go to court to demand that the Suzuki Foundation and the others lose their charitable status. And then we'll make it clear to our, first of all, then we are going to continue building a coalition across the country of like-minded provincial governments. I've already been doing that. I was working with the new Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford, months before he became Premier, and now he is fighting harder for Alberta than our own government is. I persuaded Premier Ford to pass a motion through Ontario's legislature calling on the Trudeau Liberals to repeal Bill C-69, the No More Pipelines Act, but I can't get our own Premier to do that. Did you ever think you'd see the day when the government of Ontario was more vigorously defending Alberta's energy industry than the Alberta government? That needs to end on election day. We developed a great relationship. Ontario is with us on Energy East, on pipelines, on market access, on fighting the federal carbon tax, as is the new government of New Brunswick. Just before Christmas, I was spending time with Premiers Pallister in Winnipeg and Moe in Saskatchewan, developing this strategy. So part of this is to develop an interprovincial coalition that will join us in defending our jobs. And then we will make it clear to other provinces who are violating the Constitution and trying to block our resources that there will be consequences. And I mean British Columbia's NDP government. Now, I proposed turning off the taps. Hang on a second. I proposed this 18 months ago, and when I did it, Premier Notley mocked and ridiculed me. She said Jason was having a temper tantrum, and he just wanted to build a wall around Alberta and make BC pay for it. It's kind of a funny line, actually. And then, lo and behold, a few months later, she made our idea her policy about turning off but she was never serious about it. Here's the problem. The NDP pretending to support the oil and gas industry is like vegetarians trying to run a steakhouse. It just doesn't work. They don't know what they're talking about. They're grossed out by it. You know? And so she sat down with Justin Trudeau and her friend Premier Horgan from British Columbia. He came out of that meeting, Horgan come out and said, well, I'm quite sure after this discussion that Premier Notley does not really intend to reduce oil shipments to British Columbia. What's the point of making a threat you never intend to keep? They know I intend to get serious. And you know, it begins with I want to ask the Premier of the NDP Premier of BC, why would we allow your natural gas to occupy pipelines in Alberta to US markets toll-free while you're blocking our oil? Secondly, I think maybe, if they don't open up, maybe we need some periodic safety inspections on BC exports passing through Alberta. I nominate Norm Boucher to be our first customs inspector. We're going to give Norm a flashlight and a magnifying glass and put him to work.
Both official languages.
And a hammer. And And then finally, listen, the mayor of Vancouver says he wants a carbon-free Vancouver by 2040. I'd be happy to give him one by 2020. And here's, I swear to gosh, this is the last point, Dan, I swear. Folks, what is our ultimate leverage in this federation? It's the money we transfer. 20 billion net a year. Now, we Albertans are generous. We pride ourselves on sharing some of our prosperity when times are good here, but bad elsewhere, but recently the opposite has been true. Now, and so, I mean, what we cannot abide is political leaders in other parts of the country who want to benefit from our resource wealth while not allowing us to develop it and sell it and get a fair price for it. So I will tell Prime Minister Trudeau that if he will not ensure the immediate completion of a coastal pipeline, if he won't back off on policies like Bill C-69 and the carbon tax, then we Albertans will take a page out of Quebec's playbook and we will hold a referendum to amend the Constitution to delete equalization from the Constitution of Canada. That doesn't necessarily get us where we need to go, but it elevates our fight for fairness to the top of the national agenda. Our Quebec friends have been so effective at doing this. We should learn from them. But first, build friendships on these issues across the country. I will close by saying that we have been going through some challenging times. But that doesn't matter, because we're Albertans. We prevail. We overcome adversity. We are strong and free. And so let us have hope and optimism that we can do it again like we have through all of our history. But it starts here, and it starts now. If we can elect a pro-growth, common-sense government that will fight for us here in Alberta, I believe it will change the tide nationally. And then we can help to get a change of government and fire Mr. Trudeau next October. So, friends, none of that will happen, but with your support. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your presence here tonight. We have weeks to go. We have to stay humble, work hard, and earn every vote. Please do what you can to elect Dan as your strong voice to the legislature. Absolutely. And Todd and our other great candidates. Because so many people are counting on us. And we have the energy to get this done. So thank you for all that you've done now, and let's work hard over the weeks to come to renew that Alberta advantage and to leave to future generations an Alberta that is truly strong and free. God bless. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Coming up, Todd. All right, everyone. I see Todd just got his dinner, so he's up here now. Jason, thank you for that speech. We're going to do a little question and answer now. We don't have a mic for the crowd, so shout it out. We'll repeat the question again afterwards. Direct who you're looking to the question to. And we'll do a little bit of this for the next little while folks keep eating. So I'll be the moderator.